Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome back to Enter the Ring Live for Sunday, April 10th, 2022. We are back. Coming in from San Dimas, California.
We are back.
AJ's coming here. Well, let's go to Eric. I'm San Dimas, California, right? Enjoying this overcast California weather. Eric is currently...
Eric the Red in Gresham, Oregon, currently raining and hail, and we're supposed to have snow here next week.
Oh, geez. And AJ is checking in from his new studios. Where are you at, AJ?
I'm your Huckleberry. I'm down in good old El Paso, Texas, where everything's big except for whatever's in my pants, dude. But that's a whole other story, dude. You know, I just screwed around, but yeah.
Give me a heart attack.
Welcome back, fellas.
Beautiful El Paso, Texas, man. I'll tell you right now. I'm excited about today. Not so much about talking about all the action this week, but the fact that I just miss my brothers, man. I don't care. I don't do this for anything but to see my brothers and us being in different parts of this. I guess
country right now. Yeah, country right now.
It's really hard for us, man, because seriously, we're the type of brothers that walk around and have an attached umbilical cord, you know. But
yeah, it's first time in our lives. We've all three been in separate states.
Yeah,
there's always two of us. You know, Eric, you were always off. You know, in Arizona, Nevada.
Exactly.
I've been kind of the
Oregon,
the wanderer.
The Wanderer, yeah.
Yeah,
we're all back though. We're back. We're about to get regular. We're about to talk about boxing. And but before we get into boxing, let's just talk about it. Okay, AJ, for those of you that don't know or do know, AJ relocated. He now is in El Paso, Texas. He's got a beautiful home there. And I was lucky enough to spend some time out there with him a few weeks back. Man, beautiful, beautiful city. Good move. I mean, I think so far, how's everything been? AJ's good?
You know, it's been surprisingly good. I thought the transition, I mean, you know, because I said born and raised Cali boy,
yeah.
But, you know, I pretty much secured my roots out there with my career, both in my professional and music and in boxing. But I tell you that the people out here in El Paso, they really, really surprised me in the fact that it's just that, you know, it's just as modern as California. I think the weather actually is better than California. The weather got really bad in California for me for a while. Lots of winds, bugs, and just this fluctuating from
the apocalypse coming
hot. Yeah. El Paso, you know, it's always nice. Every once in a while you get a little bit of wind. We're in the windy season right now, but it's not too bad. But just that little extra thing, you know, when you ask a person a question and they actually pay attention to you, and just the little courteous things that they do and stuff. It just shows me how much, you know, and I'm not trying to put down California, but how much people in California have just really disconnected with their fellow man. You know, it's crazy, exactly. You know. So
you were thinking, the words came out of your mouth exactly the way I was thinking them. I was there with you for about 4 or 5 days. Yeah. And we noticed that we were going in and out of restaurants, Home Depot, different places, whatever. And everybody was just so willing to help. I've been to a Lowe's today and a Home Depot today. And I went to Lowe's yesterday, and I just could not believe, like, you can't even get somebody to help you when you say, excuse me, can you tell me where? They act like they're annoyed to talk to you. I did notice that in El Paso, man. Everybody was just nice eager and nice to help, nice and willing to help you.
Because, part of the reason is, you know, in El Paso, it's an open carry state, and you don't know, you got to be nice because you don't know who's packing.
You wouldn't know it though, honestly, bro. It's an open carry state, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of a misconception. I have not seen very many people walking around with a sidearm.
Yeah.
My intention was, like I said, I got the black hat, you know, I went and got the custom sidearms. I wanted to be Doc Holliday, you know, I wanted to walk the streets and, you know, do that kind of stuff.
Brother, you are Doc Holliday.
But I mean, the thing is, you don't see that a whole lot. You don't see it. And, you know, the one thing I don't see out here a lot is officers. It's crazy because, every once in a while, you'll see an officer drive by. Like the other day, I was over at Circle K. I went and picked up some beer when we were watching the fights of the night. And an officer was pulling through there and stuff. And he stopped. And I just kind of gave him a little glance. I'm like, you know, how's it going? And he was like this. He's all, hey, how's it going? A big smile on his face. I was like, dude, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
People didn't like panic. I didn't see people like running and hiding and stuff. It was like, you know, it was just a regular guy and stuff, you know. But
yeah,
it's been good. And with this next chapter we're going to be doing with Stablemate, me and my brother Mike and all those guys, you know, we're hoping to get some events off over here. hopefully get some of these young fighters that we have that are so talented. If we can afford them to come fight up here, maybe the big comeback of Devaka, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, the thing is that it's wide open. It's a wide open. It's an empty book. Nothing's been written yet, and I'm excited for this next chapter of my life.
Well, you know what? If stablemate does come to fruition, you heard it here first. And you know what? Quite honestly, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks, including my family. I would be there to support stablemate 100%. Whether it's coming out there, helping with management, helping with training, whatever. I mean, I want that. I want to have a better hand in what we do, you know, what we know, what we can pass on to other people, you know.
Well, I don't. One of the things too is I don't feel that pressure of, you know, well, you're coming into my house and you're trying to take my job situation. I've already started, you know, exploring a few of the local gyms around here and stuff, and talking with some of the gym managers and some of the trainers. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I mean, you know, to each his own, but I know a lot about boxing, and I think I could bring a different spin, you know, as far as, you know, as technique and as far as preparation and some of the things for some of these young fighters. But the things that I've been able to do so far and stuff, it's been embraced by the people at the gym rather than push back or question, you know, because I think
they're not feeling intimidated.
No,
right?
no, you know, and the thing is, it's like, you know, I'm excited about it and stuff, and we'll see what happens.
Can I say something? They will feel intimidated if you end up opening up a nice gym and you have Jaime Munguia and Renee Zepeda and all these people show up for the grand opening.
I could get Jaime Munguia on a hologram. Oh my. Okay, so let's talk some boxing, man. Let's talk some. We'll come back. We'll do all this stuff later. People are like, all right, guys, we're gonna talk about more.
Well, man, what a weekend. Okay, let's go ahead and let's try to do it. I guess chronologically how it all took place. I actually made a goof and woke up Friday at 2:00 in the morning to tune into the Triple G fight, not realizing it was actually Saturday. Well, Friday night, Saturday, either way. So at about 3:00 Saturday morning, Friday evening, Saturday morning here in California on DAZN, the return of Triple G.
Yeah.
He wins what was it, a ninth round stoppage over
Yorioto Murata, the current WBA middleweight champion.
So so Triple G, now they said he's only the second person over the age of 40 to unify the middleweight titles. I can't remember who it must have been.
Bernard Hopkins was the other one, and Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh, okay. So all right, let's go right into the fight then, if we can.
Triple G.
Quite honestly, guys, even though he stopped him in the ninth, I was not impressed. It was definitely not the Triple G of the past. I mean, he has lost quite a few steps.
Well, I think that's to be expected in some facets. I mean, the man's 40 years old.
I know.
Go ahead and finish your take,
but, I mean,
because I want to hear Mike has to say, and then I want to talk a little bit about
so when you have Triple G talking like, you know, that he wants Canelo again, and he wants, you know, this or that or whatever, and Canelo would put him out in like 3.5, 4 rounds. I mean,
I could see that. I mean, because my whole thing is Mike, why don't you go ahead and talk about it? I don't want to step over your toe.
I thought it took him a couple of rounds to get going, but one thing he still has: cast iron chin, sledgehammer jab.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Canelo fight to me doesn't even make sense because we don't even know where that fight will be fought at. 161. It's not going to be at 160. So what? 168, a catch weight. 160.
Well, it's already been told. Supposedly, Canelo's people said that if the fight's going to be fought, it's going to be fought at 168, because the thing is, Canelo's not going. I mean, this is coming from Eddie Reynoso. He's not going after Triple G's titles. He's simply fighting this fight because he despises Triple G personally. So if the fight's going to be fought, the one thing that Canelo is going to keep on his side to kind of keep his thing is that I'm not going to chase Triple. I'm not going to make it look like I'm going all the way down there to get him. He's going to come up a few pounds, which I don't see that should be an issue. I thought Triple G could have went to 168 a while ago, but I think where the issue that I saw with Gennady was, it's definitely not a mystery that his body is his kryptonite. Murata had the recipe for a while. He must have visually really studied the Derevyanchenko fight. I don't like excuses. I'm the type of guy, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like excuses. When a fighter comes back and it's got excuses, and I hate to say it, but Triple G's been one of those guys. In the Derevyanchenko fight, he tried to say he was suffering from the flu. Rather than just say, the guy was a tough guy, he almost had it, but Triple G pulled it out at the end and got the decision, whether or not you agreed with the decision or not. I don't want to hear excuses. If you really want a fighter the caliber of Canelo Alvarez, love him, hate him, whatever you want to say. I'm not a huge fan of Canelo right now, too, because the whole Ryan Garcia situation. We'll talk about that later. But you have to respect his work ethic and what he's done and the type of people that he's fought. When people question his level of competition, I say to myself, well, this guy's only cleared out with the 168 division with the exception to Benavidez, talking about now he's going to go and fight Bivol. He's fighting undefeated world champions. He's not fighting Steve Rolls. He's not fighting Sarah Metas. He's not fighting guys like that. So if you truly wanted to get yourself in that world where you're going to be considered that commodity for Canelo to want to go and, be a part of it, you got to have some type of incentive. And Triple G's only incentive is he's obsessed with a third fight with Canelo. That's it.
Here's my take, guys. Canelo's full of shit. That's my take. He comes out and says, I don't like the guy. It's personal. It's personal. Why didn't you just fight him a third time when the iron was hot? You waited a year and a half. A year and a half has gone by since our last fight. If you really despise him that much, you should have just fought him right away. Triple G called him out and said, that's bullshit. It's not personal.
No, but I think the reason why, I think the reason why
maybe in the last year of talking, but if I'm Triple G and if I'm in his camp, right, I am 100%. I would say the exact same things. I got robbed in the first fight, right? We all know he got robbed. The second fight was close. I mean, it could have went either way. I mean, if you want to give it to Canelo, fine. I got no problem with that. So make the third fight.
Yeah.
Honestly,
bro, I think
Canelo got the favorable decisions in both fights. He did not deserve a draw in that first fight. He was
I agree with you. I thought Triple G won the first fight. Second fight, I thought Canelo won just based on his sheer aggression. But I think the one point you're missing is the reason why Canelo didn't jump right into a third fight with Triple G, because Canelo was the money maker. Triple G doesn't draw the numbers that Canelo does in the pay-per-view. He didn't want to give Triple G the money. He didn't want to give Triple G an opportunity to make the money, was what they have said.
But Canelo makes a lot of money fighting Triple G. He makes more money fighting Triple G.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing, is he would rather lose that money than give Triple G any kind of opportunity in making anything or getting any of that fanfare. That was his way of saying, I don't like the guy, so I'm not going to fight him and give him this opportunity. Yeah, and give him that payday.
I could see that. I could
see that too.
Because that's what he was saying about Demetrius Andre and guys like Charlo and all these other guys. He's like, if you guys want to fight me so bad, fight each other and I'll fight the winner. I got no problem with that. But I'm not going to sit here and keep, I don't have time for that shit.
But I don't like. So my thing is this. Okay, which is it? Canelo is at this point, is he fighting for legacy? Is he fighting for money or what? Okay.
I think he's fighting for legacy. I think he is. I think he's trying to do something. I think he's trying to do something that not too many fighters have attempted to do outside of Manny Pacquiao, maybe a few others, where he's jumped to divisions and taken on these challenges. Now, is he taking on, Arthur Beterbiev? A lot of people feel that Arthur Beterbiev is by far probably the most dangerous opponent at 175 pounds. I agree. I think he is, but I think he's got chinks in his armor. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I kind of question his chin a little bit, but his overall toughness. And if you're truly going to fight a guy who's going to bring that raw 175 pounds of power, it's going to be Beterbiev. It's not going to be Bivol. I think Bivol, on my take, I don't think he's going to be, he's a polished fighter in some senses, but he's hittable. He's not real fast. He's very predictable. He's very statuesque. He's that Eastern European fighter. He's the type of guy that Canelo is just going to systematically break down. To me, Caleb Plant was a problem because Caleb Plant was slick. He moved well. He feinted. He did a lot of things that Canelo couldn't keep up with, and it took time for him to figure it out. Bivol's not going to be hard to figure it out. I mean, that's my thing on it. But
hey, Mikey, you just had a look on your face. What do you mean?
I think Bivol in his last in the last 2 years of his career has turned into a boxer. He used to be a
No, yeah, I
puncher.
agree.
Now he's a boxer. He's going to move and move and move and jab and move and move and jab and jab and jab and jab. And he's going to out throw. And he's probably going to outland Canelo for most of the fight. And he's not going to get a decision. He's going to lose almost every round because the deck is stacked against him. He's not going to. Canelo could land a good shot and hurt, maybe even stop Bivol. We haven't really seen Bivol really hurt that bad in the last few fights because he really hasn't fought. Really, honestly, his competition lately has been lackluster.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
He got rocked against Richardson. That was the last fight, and I can't remember. His last fight was against that white guy. I can't remember what he is, but Bivol pretty much systematically broke the guy up and did what he did. I agree with you, bro. You know, if that would be his best defense, would be to use that jab, use his height, and move.
Oh, he's going to jab and move. Watch it.
But that's the same thing that Sergey Kovalev tried to do in the beginning. A guy who is actually similar in some ways, not as polished as a boxer. And those kind of things get figured out. I think Bivol's, the fact that he's mentioned so many times that he feels he's a stronger, harder hitting fighter, that ego's in the back of his mind, that thing is going to make him make that mistake to engage Canelo in that situation. And I don't think he's going to realize how strong Canelo is, like so many fighters have said, especially to the body. And we'll see. I mean, it's an interesting fight. But when I hear people say that, oh, you know, this is too big for Canelo, I look at other people that Canelo has already fought. You know what I'm saying? Some of the guys, like, to me, I still go back. Kovalev wasn't who he was, but he was still Sergey Kovalev. Guys like Callum Smith. I mean, you know, those guys were dangerous guys. Billy Joe Saunders was a fight that I really thought Canelo could lose because he can hit, he could box, he was fast.
Yeah.
You know,
very
Bivol's never fought anybody even close to these people. And that's what these guys don't understand. You have to be prepared. It's not every day that a fighter just comes out of the blue and can take out, you know, a great fighter. Nobody that Teofimo Lopez ever fought would ever equate to Vasily Lomachenko, but yet he was able to pull off that victory, even though I think, you know, it was at least a draw at worst. But those things don't happen all the time. So he has to understand something. I mean, you have to properly prepare. If he's not fighting top guys, that's nobody's fault but his own. Nobody's running from him.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with Gennady. Nobody's running from him. There's no excuse for fighting guys like Steve Rolls and these other guys. He should have been fighting, trying to unify the title against guys like Demetrius Andrade. If it's a promotional thing, I understand. But there's a lot of other fighters out there he could have been fighting. His choices have been limited, and it shows. Even in the beginning of the fight with Murata, a guy who hadn't fought almost 2 years, Gennady didn't look good. Murata had his ticket, I thought, and then Gennady, you know, being the tough guy that he is and the elite fighter, he pulled it out, and Murata started to fade, and then he ended up doing it because he abandoned the body. The body's a catalyst for him, man. I'm telling you.
On Murata, you're absolutely right. I mean, in those first couple of rounds, I think I scored the first 3 rounds 2-1. I think Triple G had the first one, and Murata had the next 2 because he was actually hitting to the body. And
what concerned me the most about Triple G was how many times he got hit by a guy who telegraphs everything. Murata does not have a high arsenal. It's jab, right hand, jab, right hand, right hand, right hand. That's all he does.
Yeah.
So when he gets in with a guy that's more versatile, he's going to have problems, you know?
Now that we're back on Triple G, Canelo, Triple G, a year ago, 2 years ago, would have been a very competitive fight.
I think it'll still be a competitive fight. It'll still be Triple G.
I don't know. To me, looking at what Triple G after the first and second round, to me, he was winded.
Yeah.
He was gassed.
Struggling. He was
that
really
was the body
struggling.
shots. That was the body shots that was taken out of him.
Yeah, he was. I did notice that he was. Well, that's 40 years old. You know, he was gassed.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he fought through it, but he didn't do anything to hide it.
Mike's absolutely right.
Second, I'm gonna mute for a second. Wait a second.
But hey, bro, I think you're absolutely right. He gassed a bit, but Triple G's got a good engine. He kind of gets that second win that comes back pretty quick, but. This is another fight where I seen Triple G where he's gotten hit to the body and the effects are very noticeable, very fast. So it's not hard to understand. If Canelo's smart, if this fight does happen, all I would do is from the first round, I would eat this man's body up. By the third round, he should be so weakened that you could possibly get the stoppage. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, for some reason, I don't know why. A guy who's a gym rat like Triple G, the body's just, he can't take the body shots. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You saw it in the Gabe Rosado fight. We'll talk about that later. Body shots were the key. You know, I mean, every time Triple G gets hit with the shot, you could see, I mean, he was allowing himself to get hit to the head because he's got that cast iron jaw just to protect that body. And that's not a good thing, you know, in boxing.
Yeah.
You know, so let's move on to,
okay. So let's stick with the zone.
Sure.
And let's talk about the fights that happened in San Antonio, Texas. Main event, Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel how do you say his name? Tago. I mean, let's talk about the undercard. Let's talk about the co-main, the fight leading up to that. I don't even want to waste my time talking about the Marlon Esparza fight because that was a complete joke.
Yeah, that was
the
joke.
Women's fight.
Yeah.
Let's not even give that 3 more seconds of discussion. Shane Mosley Jr. fights the best fight I've ever seen him fight, and winning a majority decision over Gabe Rosado. The majority part I couldn't understand. I think one judge had it 115.
He had it 95. I mean, what was it? No, 90. He had it a draw.
Yeah, I think it was because they went 12 rounds, right?
12 rounds, yeah. No, they went 10 rounds. 10 rounds. It was a 10 rounder.
Okay.
I thought it was a 10 round. Oh no, you're absolutely right, bro. It was a 12 rounder.
It was because it was for that belt. It was for
Correct.
that whatever, that Intercontinentals, but whatever. I don't understand how that one judge saw fit to give Rosado half of those rounds. And I love Rosado, but he got beat. Not worse than he's ever been beat, obviously, but he just was not. He could not get anything going against Shane.
No.
Shane, and I don't want to I love Shane Mosley Jr. You know, he's a local
great guy, man.
I love him. I met him, you know, so many times over the years. I see him at the movie theater all the time.
Yeah.
And he just, man, but was it a combination of
I'm actually wearing his dad's. I'm actually wearing his dad's camp shirt right now.
Yeah, the Kronk shirt. When he was he, you know, 31 years old now, Shane? Is that what he is? He's 31 years old now. Rosado's got pushing 40. Did he get old overnight? Did the wear and tear from the Munguia fight catch up to him? I don't know, but not to take nothing away from Shane. He looked fantastic. His punch output. He showed a great chin because he got hit a couple times.
Yeah. Never
really wavered, and his jab was working. His counters were working. His movement in the ring was good. He was impressive, man. You just kind of wish, man, I wish Shane was 25 right now or 26 instead of 31.
Well, I think the only good thing about this is sometimes fighters peak at different times. And I'm not saying that Shane, that he's in his prime or whatever, but I think the thing that was most impressive to me, you know, just going back to Shane's last fight prior to this, and that questionable decision loss to Jason Quigley, you know, a guy who I thought Shane won the fight.
Well, he lost that fight, and Shane even admitted it. I don't know if you saw the before.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Shane won the fight, or at least it was a draw, but it was a sloppy fight. The guy Quigley got away with a lot of illegal tactics. It was just one of those.
And that was at a lower weight, right?
Lower weight, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Shane found his weight.
Maybe that was yeah. So, I mean, with the thing with Rosado, I could definitely see, I mean, the guy's been through numerous wars with some of the best in the division. We just spoke about a few of them, like guys like Triple G, you know, he's been with guys like Danny Jacobs, and obviously the beating that he took, say whatever you want to say, he took a beating from Jaime Munguia. At no point during that fight did I feel that Munguia was going to be on the short end of a decision. It was pretty much, but the same situation I saw in this fight with Shane. And what really impressed me the most about Shane Mosley Jr. was that very educated, well-schooled jab. It was a power jab that was just, and I kept saying it, keep that jab in Rosado. Don't let him get set, because Rosado needs to get set up in order to trick him, Shane, to come in so he can catch up with that shot like what he did with Beck the Bully or something else. Gabe relies on, because he's not a monstrous puncher, but he's a hard puncher. So he's relying on you to use some of your force along with his force, and then it's a crash course. But it was just Shane's movement, his patience. It was like a different Shane Mosley. I mean, obviously Bones Adams has been doing some, you know, I've always thought highly of Bones Adams. I liked him as a fighter. I thought he's been very underrated as a trainer. It's showing dividends right now in Shane Mosley Jr. I don't think Shane Mosley Jr.'s career is over. I think I know some people are going to watch this and say, well, maybe Gabe got old overnight. Maybe Gabe, you know, isn't what he was based on the things. I'm going to go ahead and kind of lean the other way and say that Shane Mosley came in and just pulled off the performance of his career and possibly rekindled his career and put himself in the mix.
Yeah, you know, you're right, bro. It was a 10 rounder and it was 95-95. I don't know where I got the 115 and 95-95. Either way, thank God the other two judges saw it right, because that fight was not a draw.
Yeah.
But either way, Shane moves on, 168 pounds. I don't know. Where does Shane go from there? There's a lot of guys at 168. I mean, and but on the DAZN side of the street, maybe they try to match him up against Andre at 168 pounds. I don't know who else is fighting at 168 on DAZN on that platform, which is where this was fought.
And you're absolutely right, bro. And that is funny you should say that too, because that's a situation that was completely swept underneath the table. There was a lot of talk about Demetrius Andre, but nobody talked about his exit from 160, the fact that he didn't want to fight against Janibek, and everybody put it on Munguia. Munguia's like, what I got to fight Janibek for? I've already fought higher guys. I'm going after champions. I'm not going to waste my time with this guy, give him an opportunity. He doesn't deserve an opportunity. He hasn't beat anybody.
Yeah, agreed.
But, and then but nobody talks about the fact that he was the mandatory. Munguia's was just, hey, we want to put you in this matchup. He was the mandatory for Andre. Andre said, nope, I don't want to fight it, and bounced to 168.
Yeah.
So that's not showing what his true character is, because honestly, where does he go now in 168? Who's he going to get in there with? I want to see Benavidez.
If he does, maybe they match Andre up against Shane Jr.
But you see, to me, once again, Andre's getting a guy. Maybe Shane doesn't look that good in his next performance. And at the end of the day, Shane's still a mid-level fighter. When is Andre going to take a risk? When is he going to step in there against a Billy Joe? Caleb Plant? He's there, ready and willing. Fight Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I mean, but he's not going to take that risk. He's always got an excuse, but I don't want to get off the subject, but.
All right, guys.
Hey, bro.
All right. I had somebody come up and they were like, can we do it right now? I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it like right now. So
that's awesome.
They have to book them or what?
They have to book it because I have to. So our escape rooms are different. We actually have actors and actresses that interact with the people. So we have a 2-hour buffer. So they have to go online, book, and come in. That way we have the right actors and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's good though. That makes people want to come back because at least they know you're prepared. It's not like, like fast food.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
what I missed, guys, I'm sorry.
We were just talking about Shane Mosley Jr., his win over Gabe Rosado.
Yeah.
I saw that fight too.
It's a good fight, man. I mean, like I said, I'm happy for Shane Jr. I mean, obviously his next fight's going to be a big one. Coming off of this he's got to have another big fight.
I wonder if Eddie Hearn would have any interest in him, Mike. What do you think? Even though, because Shane's kind of a free agent, he's not. I don't know who he's really with.
It's on DAZN, so I mean, the fight was on DAZN, so he's not signed with Matchroom, but maybe I'm sure there's some connection there. You know what I mean?
Because I think matching up Shane against a guy like maybe Greg Richardson or one of those guys from the UK, stuff that have some of those linears, be great, man. I mean that's a win-win situation for Eddie Hearn right there.
Yeah, I mean the Mosley name alone,
Yeah, sell it. Who knows?
Yeah, you're right.
What I couldn't understand was periods throughout that fight where the crowd was booing, and I'm thinking to myself, I know that they were just eager to see Ryan Garcia get in there, and that's what most of them came for. But it's like, are you guys not witnessing? This was actually a very good, I was reading fight. BoxRec, and they were calling it a tepid fight. I'm like, tepid? It was a good fight.
Well, compared to the main event, you actually had two guys who were actually trying to engage each other rather than one guy playing tag with another guy. But that's another situation.
Let's go ahead and jump to that main event really quick. Let's go ahead and Ryan Garcia, the return of after a year, right? Over a year. Mm-hmm. He was dealing with some mental health issues and whatever. He wins a unanimous decision. He won every round, right? Against Emmanuel Tago.
Tago.
There's the first thing I noticed when that fight came out, I said, that guy's not a 135 pounder. Tago is not a 135 pounder. I have to go back on his box rec and see how many of his fights were actually at 135. I'm going to venture to say maybe one or two. That guy was not a lightweight. He looked like a goddamn featherweight to me.
Yeah. He was little. He was little.
Well, he had, I know what in his fight, I can't remember who it was against. I think it was Mason Menard was the fight that he really struggled with his weight for some reason. I don't know maybe what his situation was, but fighting at the higher weight. But, I've seen Tago fight a few probably about 5 or 6 fights. He's not a bad fighter. I've seen him do much better than he did against Ryan Garcia. I think the problem that he ran into Ryan Garcia, and I'm not trying to give too much credit to Ryan. But after a year, what do you expect for the guy? Going the 12 rounds is probably the best thing for him. You need to put rounds in, going in, blowing somebody out. He came in with the intention, I'm going to land that one big shot. And he does. The kid's got power. And I think Tago felt that power and he, kind of danced on the ropes and did what he did. towards the end of the fight.
Yeah.
You know, I think Ryan started gas a little bit, you know, because throwing those big punches, you know, it's going to catch up to you. He got a little sloppy, you know, he got caught a couple of times, but at no point did I ever think Tego was going to land something, even though listening to the commentators is just ludicrous. I mean, I just want to say to him, like, just, you know, just shut up already. You know, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, Ryan looked like he was about ready to take a nap. He was so disinterested in what this guy was. He wanted the guy to engage him. And that's a good quality in a fighter. That's the one thing that I think why I kind of lean towards Ryan Garcia when I look at some of these younger fighters like Devin Haney and these other guys. Ryan Garcia actually wants to engage. He's not there to dance. Go back to when he got knocked down by Luke Campbell. His first reaction was to get up, hit his chest, pumped his chest. He went right after Campbell. That's a good quality. Can we say the same for Devin Haney? Probably not. I can't even say the same for Tank Davis, because when Tank got hurt against Fonseca, his first thing was to hold, run, and look for a way out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Ryan's got flaws. To me, like I say, I know he's got flaws. Me and Mike, we talked about it earlier today. He's got flaws in his game. I don't think Joe Goosen is the answer.
Joe Goosen's a joke, guys.
You know,
I agree.
And I'm gonna let Mike actually handle that with Joe Goosen, because Mike's the expert when it comes to.
Can I say something real quick about that fight, though, real quick? So the one thing that I did notice, and I know that Goosen was only working with him for a couple of months or whatever it is. Anyway, but Ryan, I like Ryan. His ring gentleman, he wasn't able to cut things off. You know what I mean? I mean, the kid's amazing. He should have been able to get Tego out, I think. I really do. Like fourth, fifth round, he should have been able to get Tego out because he does have the power. Had he had the ability to move and block where he needed to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a footwork issue.
Instead of chasing him around the ring.
Exactly. Right? That's a footwork issue. I mean,
he needed to get
the ring, learn how to
get to the center of the ring. He was doing a great job cutting off the ring, but he should have just waited to the center of the ring. Maybe take a couple punches from the guy, trick him, you know, play a little possum, let him give him some false sense of that he's doing something. Get him out the center
near the end of the fight.
Yeah,
he actually did. I think it was the 10th or the 11th round where he almost let him kind of lull into that false sense of, I'm starting to land, and then he came back out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry.
Well, what kills me is all pre-fight. Right. All we've heard for the last couple of months is the drama involving Garcia, Canelo, the Reynosos, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is going to be the best thing for him. Joe Goosen, this and that. Oscar gets on the microphone a few weeks back. Oh, this is the greatest thing. Goosen's going to bring out thing. You're going to see a noticeable difference. Then things don't quite pan out the way they expect them to pan out. And then it's like, then Sergio Garcia is Sergio Moore is the first one to go, well, you know, the chemistry with the trainer and a fighter, it's going to take a couple of fights. Like you weren't saying that before the first bell rang.
Yep.
I'm so tired of these guys trying to fool the public and trick the public into thinking that a trainer. I don't care who it is. You could dig Emmanuel Stewart out of the grave. You could dig Gil Clancy out of the grave, Ferdinand Pacheco out of the grave, and put them in there with a guy. A trainer is not going to make that big of a difference in one fight. Sometimes not even 5 fights. These guys at this level, Ryan Garcia had an extensive amateur career. He's already had 20 something pro fights. Joe Goosen is not the guy. Joe Goosen doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Exactly.
His hair messed up. He's a complete clown. Every time he would get into the ring, go through the ropes, it's like it took him 10, 15 seconds just to get through the ropes, because he probably should have just stayed on the outside, let somebody else, maybe whoever the cut man was, get in there and, you know, and be the guy getting in and out, because he's literally wasting 10, 15 seconds out of, you know, which is basically 1/4 the amount of time just getting in and out of the ring. He's just a complete clown. Joe Goosen hasn't had a meaningful fighter in I don't know how long, and couldn't train a fighter from scratch in this day and age if you gave him a blueprint. He just can't do it.
That's a great analogy.
Agree with you.
It will not be long before, and you guys here are going to hear it here first. It will not be long. I think I put the over under at 3 or 4 days before Ryan Garcia, the rumblings start with Goosen. The same way it did with Melnicki. Remember Melnicki started training with Goosen. Yep. He didn't look all that good. And then
he bounced.
The same thing's going to happen with Garcia, guys. He'll end up with Robert Garcia. He'll end up with God knows who. He might end up with over there with Manny Robles. You know what I mean? He's not going to stick with Goosen. Trust me. And Goosen's not going to stick around either, because Goosen apparently he wasn't training up there in Goosen's gym in Van Nuys. Goosen relocated down south to train with them. So he basically, the trainer came, that's the first mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go train where you're trained. It's like, no, you want me to work with you? You come to my gym where I'm comfortable, where I can get my sparring, where I can, whatever. It's not going to work. I don't even know if we'll ever see a second fight involving Goosen in Ryan Garcia.
And Ryan Garcia, yeah, I completely agree, bro. I mean, I see it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
No. I just don't. As far as my take on the fight, I mean, like I want to like the kid. I do. I mean, he has softened his bravado a little bit, which I like. He's showing a little bit more humility. He didn't come out there and say anything bad about his opponent. He said, hey, the guy was crafty. It was hard to catch him. But that's a great thing to say.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to hear it. Was cringing. I was going, oh, please don't come in front of the mic and start talking a bunch of nonsense. Don't be a Teofimo. Learn from that clown.
Yeah,
You know
I thought Ryan handled himself pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. He did. That's what I'm saying.
He didn't even talk about like future fights. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna let my team go in and handle that and just go back and figure out what we need to do. And like I said, I mean, I agree. I don't see this partnership with Goosen, lasting. I mean, I honestly don't know why Goosen's even still in boxing, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a whole nother take.
He's got a great career right now doing what he's doing, being an announcer, a regular announcer for the PBC. I mean, it's, him going back and forth with either Brian Kinney or Lennox or whatever. I think he's pretty good for that,
Yeah. I mean, if you
was it Sergio Mora that was talking about Garcia and that, I don't think his speed was very, very fast, blah, 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 blah. Was that Mora?
No, that was Jojo Diaz.
Diaz, But you got to understand, though, Jojo Diaz and him have a personal beef.
I know.
Jojo was supposed to fight that fight. Remember, Jojo was supposed to fight Garcia a year ago.
Yeah.
So either way,
but
Jojo wants that fight. Win, lose, or draw. That's a payday for Jojo.
Absolutely. He's probably gonna get that fight. Only because it's a good measuring stick with Haney. If Ryan can go in there and beat Jojo more convincingly than Haney did, then the pendulum kind of swings towards Garcia's way. But I absolutely agree. I mean, the situation with Joe Goosen, it's not going to last.
No.
I think what Ryan's big issue, and I know he was talking about with the gym and stuff with the Reynosos, and I can understand it's like, you're preparing for a fight, and these guys, the Reynosos remind me of Bob Baffert in horse racing, or one of these other guys, Pletcher. They just got way too many horses. And I remember I used to tell you, Mike, hey, bro, man, so-and-so is working, Baffert's working with this horse. You'd be like, nah, dude, come on, dude. That guy's got assistants that work with them, and they just feed him back the information. Ryan Garcia felt that he didn't have to do that. I talked about it earlier about why I kind of was a little miffed with Canelo, because I could see where Ryan was going with this. Canelo all of a sudden turned his back on Ryan and kind of said, questioned his work ethic and stuff, which didn't, I'm not going to say it was the major cause, but it was definitely a contributor to maybe Ryan's breakdown. When you kind of look up to somebody and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, whatever. But I think what was really happening was there was potential there. And let's be honest, Canelo's not ready to share the spotlight with anybody. At the Reynoso's gym, it's Canelo Alvarez, not Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia. So there wasn't enough room for the egos for both of them. So one of them had to go. So the lesser of two evils had to go, and that was Ryan Garcia. But unfortunately, like I said, I mean, two things can happen. Either Ryan could come back stronger. I like the fact that I didn't like everything he did in the ring, but I like the fact he didn't make excuses. Like I said, I'm a guy, I don't like excuses. And I like a guy that just says, hey, this is where I'm at right now. We'll figure it out later on, see what we're going to do. He's not going to go out there and get into a bashing thing like Devin Haney, who can't keep his name. Let's be honest. Ryan Garcia is not putting people's names out there. It's other people putting his names and their conversations. Yeah. And that tells you who's really the marketable one and who's not. Look at the numbers last night. Could Devin Haney have done that? No. Could Tank Davis have done that? No. These guys don't do that. They try to perpetrate and they try to do all this bullshit, like at the press conference with Rolly Romero. It doesn't work. They don't have what Ryan Garcia has. He's young, he's impressionable, he's a good-looking kid, he's got a good personality and stuff. He's the new Oscar De La Hoya if it goes that way. We'll see.
I did notice a couple of things though when he was fighting. The little mocking type stuff that he did do during that fight. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I saw a couple of that. But I think that was just tired and frustration.
I understand, but you know what? I mean, if he by chance sees this, stop that shit.
No,
just stop that shit.
You don't need it. He's got a lot. He's still got a lot of growing up to do. I mean, the kid's obviously dealing with some issues. I mean, I can understand. I've dealt with issues myself. it happens, man. I mean, the fact that he's back in the ring, it's good to see him back in the ring.
Yeah. He's good for he's good for boxing because
see what happens.
The 135-pound division, you know, you take your choice. You've got the workhorse guys, the Kambosos and Lomachenkos that don't talk a lot. They just fight and prove the ring. Then you got the big mouths like Teofimo. You got Devin Haney, the unproven. You got Ryan Garcia, the Flash.
I love that.
So you got a little bit of everything.
Devin Haney, the unproven.
He's unproven. I'm sorry.
I love that.
A win over Linares, who just got knocked out again for like the 5th time in his last 10 fights, doesn't show me anything. I'm sorry.
And Devin wasn't all that convincing against Jojo Diaz. It's just Jojo Diaz is just
Jojo Diaz is not a lightweight, bro.
No, he's not a lightweight. He's just
5'5",
very limited in what he can do. And Jojo's delusional, bro. He's not a power puncher. He doesn't have great speed. He's more of a counter puncher. You know, he's a guy that just has to kind of grind out the rounds and stuff. He's not a guy who's going to go in there and be able to outbox him. He had the wrong take in trying to outbox Devin Haney for the first couple rounds, and he figured it out. You know,
did a good job.
Yeah, Devin Haney. I'm gonna say it again. Devin Haney is he's an explosion ready to explode in the sense that he's one punch away from working at Wendy's. I'm telling you right now, man.
There's a few fighters that way. Berlanco's another one. Yeah. There's a lot of fighters that are one punch away. I hate to say it. I might take
Andrade.
But Ryan Garcia is one punch away.
Oh yeah,
because the way he comes in with that chin and that head straight up and punching from his waist.
The only thing that would save Ryan in the sense if he did lose a fight like that is his markability. The fact that he's able to fill the stands. But when you're a guy that can't fill the stands, let's be honest. A guy like Terrence Crawford. If Terrence Crawford went in his next fight and he got knocked out, let's say he fought Drawn Ennis and Ennis blows him out in the first round.
That's
the last you're going to hear of Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford can't put people in the seats in his own hometown of Omaha.
Yeah.
And Ryan Garcia could put, tons of people in the seats. So he might get a second chance. Guys like Devin, he's going to go. He's good. Yeah. That's why if you notice, everybody turned their back on Teofimo. Where's Teofimo Lopez? Where's the guy that they felt the takeover? Because this guy couldn't fill the stands, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example. So everybody said he was this and this.
Yeah,
boxing is not just about how good you are in the ring. It's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about. Let's jump over to the fights that took place on Showtime last night. PBC had a card as well. I mean, there were cards all over the place. I mean, I don't know if you guys wanted to take a little quick 5 minutes to talk about the fights that took place at the hangar in Costa Mesa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I mean, also, can we talk about Tim Tszyu fight? Because we haven't been on for a while, so I'd love to talk about that.
I'll tell you what, we'll close with that because we're going to probably close with the Fundora-Lubin fight. And
that'll segue into
those.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so at the hangar in Costa Mesa last night, ESPN Top Rank put on a card. Main event: Michaela Mayer versus Jessica. What was her name? Jennifer Hahn. Hahn.
She's right here from El Paso.
Yeah, El Paso. I mean, I'm like, I mean, she's tough. She has no power. Michaela, I like Michaela Mayer. I like the fact that she was a bass player in a metal band. I dig that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. She's talking about she's going to show why she deserves the winner of Serrano versus Taylor. I think I think first off, she's fighting 2 divisions below them, right? She's fighting at 130, right? If am I right? And
correct.
Aren't Serrano and them fighting at what, 138 or 140?
That's like 4 Cinnabons, dude. I was just kidding.
Even though she looks bigger for some reason to me all the time.
Well, she's tall. She's tall and lanky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, she's not a bad fighter. I mean, she's not a bad fighter, but she didn't really get much resistance last night from Hahn. Hahn was content to just kind of move and move and move and move.
Hahn's a girl who was fighting way out of her weight class.
Oh yeah. Way out of her weight class, and she's short and she doesn't have any pop. She's got 1 knockout in all her 15 fights or 14 or 15 fights.
Hey, real quick, why don't we grab Allie and start training Allie?
Sorry, what now?
You don't want your daughter getting in the face, man.
Dude, Allie's tough as freaking nails.
Yeah, you don't want her getting punched in the face, dude.
Nah.
I don't know.
I see it. I see girls.
She's got a freaking heavy bag in her room, for crying out loud.
We'll talk about that on another
thing. The girl
thing.
was at a hit like you have no. I'll have to. If we end up going down to El Paso, AJ, she's going to be one of your prodigies.
I got no problem with it, man.
We'll make those bucks.
My stable is empty.
I don't want my nieces getting hit in the face, man.
Hell no. Okay, so Mike, so you're saying about Michaela Mayer and Jennifer Hahn?
So she won a unanimous decision over
Jennifer Hahn. She won a unanimous decision, over Hahn. Pretty much won every round. Like I said, Han fighting out of her weight class. You know, she's a tough girl. She's a good girl too, Jennifer Han.
Yeah, she is. She's tough.
You
She,
know,
you know, I don't know. She just wasn't just, she doesn't have the firepower really to, you know, I don't know, the firepower to really keep Mayer off or what's the word I'm looking for, to just discourage Mayer in any way. Mayer just kept coming forward, jab, and she's gotten better. I'm not gonna lie. Al Mitchell's done a good job with her. I mean, she's learning this. She's learning the sport the right way. She's showing little bits of improvement every single time I see her fight. Jabbing, cutting off the ring, jabbing, throwing combinations, keeping her guard right. She's a good fighter. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame she's not bigger than she could be. You know, I mean, she's all American. You know, all American girl, blonde girl from Orange County, California, whatever. And this just goes to show, in boxing in general, that doesn't really matter sometimes. I know a lot of fighters take heat and, oh, they're only famous because of their this or their that, and that's nonsense. Because like I said, I mean, Michaela Mayer should be huge.
Yeah,
nobody knows who Michaela Mayer is. Nobody.
Well, I think a lot of it is that Michaela, even though, you know, she's got the looks, it's the personality. It's just, she's not one of these people that live on social media, so she's not really doing a lot of the things that did this. I think this is a gauging stick for Michaela and her trainer and all them, being the fact that Jennifer Han had fought Katie Taylor. They wanted to see how they were going to match up in that situation. Obviously, Katie Taylor is one of the top fighters, but she's got you know, she's got her hands full with Amanda Serrano coming up. So Katie Taylor's another one. I mean, let's be honest, you know, love Katie Taylor, don't like Katie Taylor. She's gotten some questionable decisions in the past. She's another fighter that's possibly one fight away from disappearing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she could put people in the stands, but it's always about the opponent. She's been the homebred opponents from the UK. This has been perfectly matched up for her. Eddie Hearn knew exactly what he was doing. These rivalries with the town, it's like putting together two soccer teams that hate each other. These two towns might only have 40,000 people that live in each town, but they're going to put 80,000 people in that stadium that night. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. So, I mean, that's the situation with Michaela. You know, people talk about women's boxing and it's starting to step into this next thing. Let's be honest. I'm not trying to come down on women's boxing, but it's still women's boxing. You have to take baby steps. And you look at and for them to say that the fighters today in women's boxing are basically like the pathfinders, like the ones out there, like forging the new road,
the trailblazers.
The trailblazers. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That is, let me tell you right now. Okay. I'll take an Ann Wolf. Okay. Or Lashia Riker any day of the week over some of the crap that I got to deal with today. And I'll be honest with you too. If they were in the same weight class, Amanda Serrano versus Ann Wolf knocks her out. That's my personal take. You know, that woman was a true boxer. Puncher. I
think Layla, and that leads me to something that was said during the Marlon Esparza fight by Sinicia Estrada. We both have our feelings about her. I don't think she needs to be behind the mic trying to talk boxing. She said on two separate occasions, verbatim, when I was growing up, women's boxing was nothing. Now it's like, wait a minute. How old are you?
Yeah.
You're going to say that Layla Ali, Christy Martin, Mia St.
John. I mean, I could go on.
Riker, Ann Wolf. These were nothing. These were the fight.
Fonda Ward. I mean, I can go on all day.
Layla Ali.
Holly Holm.
Yeah, it's like this girl has really showed her ignorance with her mouth. It's like maybe you were born a decade too late, because in the 90s, right, and early 2000s, right, there were some good fights. Christian Martin used to fight on every one of Mike Tyson's undercards, right? She was promoted by Don King. Exciting fights. Maybe they weren't the most
fights. Her fight against Mia St. John, the one that they were trying to build up.
When she said that, it's like, you really don't know what you're talking about, girl. Please get her off the mic. Take her and Chris Mannix and have them cover like a dart contest.
What gets me about Sinicia Estrada is that, you know, for one thing, you know, she thinks she's so original. She thinks what she's doing in boxing is so different. She thinks that she knows more.
Nobody cares about Sinicia Estrada either.
And the problem is that all she is a little chola, you know, from East Los, who's got a little attitude, you know.
That's all she is.
You know, she got into a verbal confrontation with Sergio Mora. And I'm not trying to defend Sergio Mora because, you know how I feel about him. But Sinicia Estrada is basically going down the wrong road because she's been dropped in fights. She's not that good of a fighter. I mean, she couldn't even be original and find a good moniker, a good name. You know, she had to steal a name. And if you asked her, I remember I put a thing on the thing about, you know where that name is, who the original, you know, Super Bad was. You know, who was the original back in the day from Kron? She didn't even know. She doesn't know who Bernard Mays is. These guys don't know this kind of stuff.
She probably knows, and she just didn't want to.
No, she doesn't know.
No, she doesn't know,
bro.
She
probably thinks Oscar De La Hoya is the first real true golden boy. Come on, man. I mean, that's the kind of world that we live in right now, man.
Yeah, you're right. Ridiculous. You're right. She doesn't belong behind the mic because she just sounds and looks ignorant.
But they have to put her there with all this bullshit that's going on today. You know what it is? I don't want to get into it, but you know
what? So I am so sick and tired of the announcers. I think you guys have all heard that over and over and over again from me. I can't do it. I literally mute the damn TV. I can't do it.
I hear Tim Bradley's voice and it's like nails on a chalkboard. I have to walk out.
It's weird because Tim Bradley, when he's talking about the fights, he completely is so far off base. And then he'll do a post-fight interview with one of these channels and he says something that makes total sense. It's like, Tim, why don't you say that when you're on camera?
Yes.
You can't. He was talking about the Maloney brothers, one of the Maloney brothers, the one that got ripped off against Franco. And he's like, oh, he don't want to have that there. And he's like, some guys just got your number. It's like, dude, Maloney kicked Franco's ass in the second fight, got robbed. They went over and over on slow-mo video. There was never a headbutt. He should have been a rightful champion. The fight should have never taken place. The third fight should have never taken place in Las Vegas.
Yep.
He should have been having that belt back at home. But what does Maloney do? He keeps coming across the pond and he's taking his career into his own hands. I wouldn't do it. It's like, dude, I can make enough money.
Now he's fighting 8 rounders on the undercard on Showtime.
Yeah, it was probably a 10 rounder that because of TV time, they bounced it down to 8, which is, yeah, but either way, he looks good. But it's like, man, Timothy Bradley, can you just be honest, man?
Honest.
Because he's got it in him. He just refuses to be honest when he's on camera.
No, yeah. I mean, and the thing with Timothy Bradley, I mean, there's nothing wrong with admiring another fighter. That's all good, but
he's supposed to be impartial as an announcer. And he just
but when you hear him and the verbatim that comes from him and Andre Ward when they talk about guys like Terrence Crawford, it's kind of like they're trying to. I'm like, are you trying to convince us, or are you trying to convince yourself? Because it doesn't make sense. Because if you're going to criticize a guy like, I don't care who it is, a guy like Vasily Lomachenko for his choices of opponents, how dare you? Matter of fact, Andre Ward, how dare you? I'm not going to come down Tim Bradley. How dare you, based on your choice of opponents, your entire career?
Dude, Timothy Bradley fought better fighters than Andre Ward. Andre Ward, the best fighters he fought were Carl Froch, who was a great British fighter, but very limited, let's be honest. Yeah. Okay. And the robbery against Kovalev and and the Sullivan Barrera fight.
That's it.
Maybe Arthur Abraham, but 10 years ago. But
Chad Dawson, when Chad Dawson was on the downside.
Abraham was on the downside too, right?
Yep.
Right. So I don't know, man. That I don't know. At least Bradley did fight. I mean, granted, he never beat Pacquiao, but he fought him. He fought Provodnikov. He fought Devin Alexander. These were all top guys at that time. He fought Marquez and beat Marquez, and he beat Marquez convincingly. That was his most impressive fight in my opinion. Timothy Bradley, when he beat Juan Manuel Marquez, that was the most impressive I had ever seen him.
I saw that fight, and
that was the one legitimate fight where he said, "Man, that was Tim Bradley, vintage Tim Bradley." He got his butt beat by Provodnikov and got squeaked away a decision. Shouldn't have. Got brain damage from that fight and shut his career down subsequently. But let's talk. Okay, let's go ahead and segue in because we're almost at an hour. Let's talk about the main event on Showtime last night. The Erickson Lubin. This fight, man. I mean, it was a very exciting fight before they even touched gloves. Erickson Lubin coming off of 1 loss. I mean, he suffered only 1 loss against the towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora. Undefeated, still undefeated. He ends up stopping Erickson Lubin. What they called it after the 9th round?
They called it after the Kevin Cunningham, Erickson Lubin's trainer, didn't like how Lubin was looking.
Yeah.
He didn't like the swelling in his face. Lubin was still taking those punches, and I guess that there was some reaction times that were just off, that Cunningham just said, you know what,
that's enough, man.
That's enough. And
God bless Kevin Cunningham for being a real, you know what I mean? Not being a I don't even know who's the guy that trained Jeff Horn, the guy, the Australian guy. Anyway, there's a couple of trainers out there would just basically not have any direction for their fighters, and they just want them to go out there and take more punishment.
Well, I think Kevin Cunningham, with his association, working with Buddy McGirt for all those years and knowing what happened with Buddy McGirt with Maximus, it's still a sore subject for Buddy. Buddy's still not come back 100%. So, I mean, he's not going to take that risk, especially with a guy that is more than just a fighter to him. He's like a son to him in Erickson Lubin. You know, he's been with them since the early days. It was a hard fight for me to watch because I was stuck in a situation where we were one of the first guys, one of the first shows out there that really talked and put the light on Sebastian Fundora back when he
Thank you. This was over a year ago when everybody
well
was
over
saying
2 years ago.
Just this, he's just a tall guy, blah, blah, blah.
Nobody even knew who this kid was out of Coachella, but we started talking about him because he was an anomaly. He was this tall kid, but it wasn't just his height. It was the humble aspects.
You could go back and look at our videos and you could pull it up, and we don't hide nothing. We said this kid is not just a tall fighter. This kid has skill. This kid's tough. He knows how to fight on the inside. We've been talking about it
for over 2 years, man, and nobody listened. All of a sudden now, you know, his fight.
We said the same thing about Tim Tszyu almost 2 years ago.
I know.
We said it's like if this was boxing was a stock market, we'd be selling Apple stock before anybody even knew what it was. We kind of see these fighters because we don't just watch the big fights like most of these guys do. I hate to say, a lot of people that I respect, they only watch the big fights. They don't watch all the undercards. They don't watch the little Tuesday night at 3 a.m. fights coming.
Well, exactly.
Watch everything.
I mean, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, because I wanted to be well-versed, you know, with the Gennady Golovkin, but not just that, for the undercard, because there was a fighter that fought on the undercard that I was really interested in seeing. But getting back to what I was saying is that you have so many of these people now that are creating these shows and stuff, and they think because whether or not they bought their subscribers or they got them legitimately, whether it be TikTok or YouTube, whatever, they think that the volume of their subscribers basically can hide the inconsistencies in the facts that they spew to the people. I've said this time and time again. I've challenged, I don't know how many guys out there who steal my satire, and then they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, well, you only got like, you know, a few thousand followers and I got like 100,000. Okay, but that's not going to help you. They're not going to stand up and protect you when I rip you to shreds over the air. God forbid you actually see me on the streets or in the ring. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just sad, man, because, you know, these guys, you hear what they say and it's so ass backwards, you know, and then they flip flop. They're no different than Tim Bradley. One moment they love the guy, next moment they hate the guy. That's because they don't remember the guy, because they never put the time in to learn the game and really follow a fighter. Like we follow guys like Kostya Tszyu and others throughout their career and watched them as they migrated through the divisions and became the superstars that they were. So we understood the ethical aspect behind it. These guys don't. They just read somebody else's headlines, throw their take on it, and they think it's fact, and it's bullshit, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So
I'm sorry. So I'm literally just watching the highlights on that fight. I didn't get a chance to watch Fundora fight. I literally was working from like, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning till 1 a.m. So on Saturday, but it did Fundora go down?
He went down. Yeah.
Wow.
So Fundora,
I mean, he dropped him with that uppercut in the second round. Lubin dropped
Lubin
him hard.
Yeah, hard.
Okay. All right. I was just, you know, I'm trying to watch the highlights as well, but wow. I mean, yeah, but you're right. The kid Fundora, you guys, quite honestly, from the beginning, have been saying what he is, and people need to take notice.
We said the same thing about Erickson Lubin. We were high on Erickson Lubin well before his shocking first round knockout loss to Jamel Charlo. Fundora, this is a weird fight. When I saw, I mean, he's becoming that difficult fighter at 154. He's a guy where people kind of looked at him like a circus sideshow and thought, oh, well, you know, eventually somebody's going to catch him. Well, you know what? He just fought the hammer Lubin. There's not very many guys at 154 pounds who hit as hard as Lubin. He took the punches. He got knocked down in the 7th round, even though he tried to say, I told Mike, I kind of gave him a little bit of a strike when he tried to say that he went down voluntarily. No, you didn't. Because if you would have stood up one more second, Lubin was going to catch you with that hook and you're going to sleep. But the bottom line is, you know, I've always been high on Erickson Lubin, but I really admired Sebastian Fundora. So it was one of these fights, hard fight to watch, but to watch Lubin take that kind of punishment. And I think I said it in the post, you know, when I did the fight recap, was based off of this loss, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of choices. What happens to Erickson Lubin at this point? This is a guy who came in amateur star, one of the most highly touted fighters. He was Jaron Ennis before Jaron Ennis was Jaron Ennis. He was the man who was paving the way to stardom. And that shocking. He took that fight too quick against Jamal Charlo, got caught, came back and looked impressive, but had moments where you kind of question things in his fight against Fundora-Ggg-Garcia and a few others, and Nathaniel Gilmore.
Fundora-Ggg-Garcia,
yeah. So I mean, my heart's out to him, man. I just want to see him be healthy. I love what Sebastian said, but I think this was a true tale of a night of a star was born and another one falls.
Yeah, you're right. That was like a must win, even though he's got one loss, but that was a must win because
that was actually the second loss for Erickson Lubin, because he lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He only has one loss, but I mean, but you're like, oh my God, you're like, God, the punishment he took in that fight, his face. I don't know, something happened. It's a vessel or something broke, a nerve, something broke that caused that swelling. He almost looked like an alien there. Not to be, make light of that, but it didn't. Man,
well, remember, Mike, we talked about Sebastian Fundora's punching power. We questioned it for a while. We're like, does he really hit that hard? But we kind of saw that in his fight against Hassan, when he just kind of dominated that guy in the same situation with Nathaniel Gilmore, a very durable guy who's been with some of the best, where he just kind of did this. Watching him do this to Erickson Lubin in the manner in which he did, I think really sends a message to 154 pounders. Okay, let's be honest. Brian Castano, if he wins his fight against Jamal Charlo, is a little guy, very little for the division.
Smaller than Lubin.
He's shorter than Lubin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Picture Brian Castano fighting Sebastian Fundora.
Well, see,
David and Goliath.
yeah. So the thing is with Fundora, his what he has above everybody else is leverage. Period. End of story. The fact that his arms are longer and they are coming.
His arms actually aren't longer. He's actually got short arms for his height.
Oh well. Oh, anyway, but the way that he moves, the way that he moves. I mean, you're talking about a leverage that is different than other opponents. Because you take a sledgehammer and you pull it from all the way to the back and you swing it. Guess what? It's going to have a lot more impact. But if you take it from like this halfway and swing it, it's not going to have anywhere near the force. So the fact that Fundora is able to, I don't know, it's all about leverage. That part of it.
If you notice Sebastian Fundora, he fights the way he trains. He does what's called the throttling effect. So he looks like he's stepping and punching when he's going like this. Even when he goes like this, it's like almost like old school. He's going like this. But those punches are coming in strong. And when somebody's not moving, for some reason, these guys just don't move. They just kind of stay there. And Lubin, I was like, Lubin, move, grab him, do something. Don't just keep taking these punches. But I want to get Mike's take on that. Mike, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I just looked down BoxRec. Man, Castano's 5'7", Lubin's 5'10". Castano wins that fight. Here's the thing. If Jamal Charlo ends up winning that fight, Charlo will go nowhere near Fundora.
I know.
He will go nowhere near him. Castano's tough. Castano will take that fight. If that's the guy I got to fight, whether it's him or Tim Tszyu, Castano's a no-nonsense guy. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. That's the difference between, I hate to say it sometimes, certain fighters, some of the PBC protected guys, I'm not saying they're protected, but the divas like the Charlos and the Castanos, the working class guys that'll fight anybody, anywhere. You're right. What does Castano do against Fundora? What does anybody do against that guy? Because he's only getting stronger. If he can continue to make 154, and he
makes it effortlessly. I hear he doesn't even struggle to make it.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we wanted to segue in and talk a little bit about Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu just had that win a couple weeks ago over Fundora-Ggg-Garcia at 154. Now he's been the mandatory for the winner for the WBO title, which Castano currently holds. Right? If Castano does lose that fight to Charlo. Charlo is not going to fight Tszyu. Charlo will vacate the WBO belt because he'll go, at this point, it's just a trinket. I don't need no belts. Belts don't make me. I make belts, blah, blah, blah. I could already hear it. He'll vacate that belt so he doesn't have to fight Tszyu. And then we might be forced to watch another fight we really don't want to watch. Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is about 5'8". So he's shorter than Lubin, a little taller than Castano, 5'8 and a half, maybe 5'9". That's a fight I don't want to watch because it's just really, how does Tszyu bridge that gap? How does he get in? How does he do enough damage to discourage Fundora? I don't know if Tim's got the one punch power.
That's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's just, like I said, there's so much to like about Tim Tszyu, but there's still a couple little things out there you just want to see get worked out so he'll be properly prepared. But there's one thing Tim Tszyu can't do to prepare himself for Fundora, and that is get taller or get bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, what Fundora does, it's weird, man. I'm telling you, I think these guys, it's kind of like almost like what they call that youth effect, where when you're fighting against the first thing, when you're fighting against a guy that's tall, you're so fixated on their height, you don't think about whether or not the person can fight or not. You're just fixated on the height.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So it's like they're not used to punching up, especially when you got a tall guy. Picture Jermell Charlo fighting against Lubin. Jermell Charlo is one of the taller guys in the division. You know, I say he's about 6 foot almost, but he's used to fighting, at mid-range, or, maybe a little fight down to the size of his competition. But having a fight punch up is a whole nother thing. You could see it in Lubin. He was having difficulty figuring out how to set his feet. And that made me question, like, did you guys, I understand Fundora is a guy who wants to engage you and he fights down to the level of his competition. I'm talking about in stature, not in ability.
Yeah.
But did you work on trying to figure out how to get those punches going? The old techniques they used to do back in the old days, they used to make you lay flat on your back and you'd have to punch up and look up and stuff in order to learn. It didn't look like Lubin was prepared for that, because right from the get-go, most of his punches were hitting Fundora square in the chest, almost like he had no idea how to even get to his chin.
Yeah.
And why would you go to a chin of a guy who's got a body the size of Texas? He's got the head the size of Rhode Island. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, he's got a small head.
Yeah.
But a situation with Tim Tszyu, a guy Tim's got underestimated power. I think Tim is still, even though he's at the more mature age, I think he's still getting into his man strength. I thought he was impressive against Garcia. The knockdown concerns me because that lapse of concentration against a guy like Fundora, you saw what happened with Erickson Lubin. Okay. Something like that happens with Tim Tszyu. That pressure is going to be nonstop. Where you got a guy like Castano, who's 5'7", going that pressure. To me, Tim Tszyu beats Castano because Castano is still the smaller guy, and Tim will still be able to use his strength to push him off. His accuracy, he's a more accurate puncher and a harder puncher. I think he'll just basically break down Castano. But in a situation with Fundora, where do you start? Do you start from the head and go down? Do you start from the bottom? It's too much. I mean, I think honestly, Fundora should be banned from boxing. You shouldn't be there, dude.
I know it's not even fair.
I put a petition out
there.
They're
like, you got to put 20 pounds on and fight at like heavyweight or something.
Okay, so with the Tim Tszyu fight that happened before we haven't done a Enter the Ring for a while, but
yeah.
The one thing I did notice and throughout the fight, I mean, granted, I'm glad he won. He did a great job. He's open to that left.
He was a little over anxious. I think he was just fighting for the crowd. I think he was.
No,
I think that he's a
but
little starstruck.
I honestly, I mean, that is something you've got to be careful about.
Well, Steve Sparks.
Well, he got hit with the straight right.
Yeah,
right is what put him on his butt.
I don't care what I saw.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I saw him getting hit with that left.
Yeah,
and you know what? That's something. If you run into somebody that has a good left hook, guess what? That's going to be a game changer. So he's going to have to start to learn how to pull his freaking right hand up. You know what I mean?
If I could change two things on Tim Tszyu, number one, I would change the fact I don't like the fact that the way he steps back from a punch that's coming at him. Sometimes he has a tendency sometimes to square up and then turn him to the side. I know what you're talking about. The other thing that I would do with Tim is get him to just understand that, okay, there's having patience and there's having way too much patience. Okay.
Yeah.
Tim has to find that middle ground between aggression and patience, and then he's going to be balanced. Right now, he doesn't have that balance. You saw it in the Garcia fight. It was too much aggression too fast. Then when he started to balance out, then he balanced out too much, So he's got to kind of find that range.
Well, that takes with time. I mean, that's just experience, and I'm sure he's going to get there. So.
But I just don't think Fundora is a good fight for him. I'm not saying that Tim Tszyu can't be successful in that fight. I think it's a huge fight for the fans. I
don't want to see that fight.
No, nobody wants to see that fight.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to see that fight.
The bigger question is this: when are we going to stop letting fighters like Jermell Charlo just say, "Oh, I'm not going to fight him"? Why? You have no problem talking about everybody else.
Him and Andre.
Why don't you want to fight Sebastian Fundora? I'll tell you why he doesn't want to fight Sebastian Fundora. Because in order for Jermell Charlo to go back to Houston and hang out with his homies and stuff. You think he's ever going to be able to live down the fact he lost to that pipe cleaner? No.
Yeah.
They're going to clown him for the rest of his life. His own brother's going to clown him, dude.
Yeah.
You know, but if I was Jamal, I'd look at Jamal and tell him, hey, dude, will you fight him? You know, you'll see what I'm talking about. Sebastian's got a bright future. My only problem is I think his choices of opposition are going to start to become very scarce. I think he's going to start fighting guys that are a little bit below his level of competition. And that's when you get overconfident and you make that mistake. That's the only downfall I see from Sebastian Fundora.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Very true.
We'll see what happens, but I'm excited. I mean, you know, so what do we got, Mike? We got some fights. Let's talk about some boxing possibly coming up. We got anything coming up this week?
Let's see. I know we got some fights coming up this week. Well, let's spend a couple minutes on that.
We have the Canelo Bivol fight.
No, that's not till May. That's May.
Yeah, we got time on that.
Let's see. I know we have some fights coming up.
Yeah, it's the 12th?
The 16th is coming weekend.
Oh, hey, the
Errol
12th.
Spence. Errol
You
Spence.
said the 12th.
Oh yeah, Errol
Brothers.
Spence versus Yordenis Ugas.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold
what are
on.
we
The
thinking?
12th.
It's Mom's birthday.
Okay, remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we know.
2 days.
Okay, so real quick, we got on the 16th is actually I'm just gonna run them off if you don't mind, real quick, Mike. I got them right here. So we obviously the big fight everybody's talking about is the unification bout between undefeated Errol Spence against recent Manny Pacquiao successor Dennis Ugas for the welterweight title. Then you also got
Conor Benn.
Conor Benn, who's on that fight. I don't know who he's
fighting. He's fighting in Manchester
Heaton.
against Chris Van Herden.
Van Herden. Yeah, that's right.
But I didn't even know Chris was still fighting. That's
I agree, Michael. That is a fight that, quite honestly, why is it even happening? I mean,
well, last time I heard Van Herden, wasn't he like sparring like Conor McGregor back when McGregor fought against Mayweather? But who cares?
Well, Van Herden,
I think
Van
he
Herden
used to spar me back in 1984.
No, Van Herden fought Jaron Ennis, remember? And then they fought, and then that gash, that major gash in the first round. Remember the fight ended in a no contest because that major gash. Has that gash healed? Remember that? It was horrible.
Yeah, it was
I don't think he's fought since then. So I don't know. I like that Conor Benn wants to stay active, but fighting guys like Chris Van Herden, there's so many other guys at 147 you could be going after. And he just keeps pulling these top.
Yeah, and
Pee Wee Herman probably give him a better chance.
The situation with Conor Benn's another guy. He reminds me of Eubanks, just a guy who's he's trying to move too fast. And even his own promoter and Eddie Hearn and them are trying to tell him, slow down a little bit. You're not ready for a lot of these other guys, but he's got to find out the hard way. Is it going to be Van Herden? Probably not. Another interesting bout, which I don't understand why they keep digging him up, is Isaac Cruz, I guess, is settled for Yuriakis Gamboa. I know a lot of people are going to write off Gamboa and say, well, you know, he's got no shot in hell. Don't be surprised if Gamboa goes in there and outpoints Isaac Cruz. I
saw footage of Isaac Cruz sparring, getting pieced up.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
pieced up.
You got to look at the people that have beaten Yuriakis Gamboa and the manner in which they beat him. Even Terrence Crawford had his moments where he struggled. And Devin Haney didn't walk over Ugas, who actually hurt his leg in that fight. The thing is, you know, Isaac Cruz, based off his success with Tank Davis, is living on that thing. The one that kind of really that I'm interested in this week is a guy who I was really pulling for, and that's Cody Crowley in his fight against Josecito Lopez.
Yeah,
there's a couple of reasons. I like Josecito, but after his bout with John Molina, I want to see him eat some dirt. I like Cody. I like his backstory. A guy who sold his truck and did what he had to do in order to get that fight against Cody
Crowley is the Canadian guy, right?
Yeah, man. He's just a great guy, man. He had he basically sold everything in his possessions just to get on this card to get that fight against and Dukobov, that 18-0 guy, whatever.
Yeah, and he looked fantastic.
He looked amazing. Yeah.
The kid's slick, man. He reminds me like a smaller Caleb Plant, but with a little bit more pop. But with a little bit more pop, though. He's got a little bit more power. He's only got 9 or 10 knockouts, but he can hit. Yeah.
He's a guy.
Just a quick question, Michael. Do you think Johnny would ever decide to come back?
I don't know. I don't think so, man. He's pretty content with what he's doing right now. I mean, if Triller came at him and said, "Hey, we want to put a rematch with you and Matisse or you or something like that," because that was a fight of the year. Back in 2015, AJ?
Yeah.
2014, 2015 for a lot of money. Because I don't know what Triller's doing now. They've kind of been absent the last couple months.
Thank God. Yeah.
I actually know the guy that took over as a president of Triller. I actually know the guy that just took over as a president of Triller personally.
Yeah, really? We were talking about it, Mike.
Yeah, a guy named David Tacho. I've known him for years.
Decent guy or what?
Yeah, he worked for Golden Boy. He was Golden Boy's director of all media and all that stuff, and he left Golden Boy several weeks back. And
is he going to change things up a little bit? Hopefully.
I heard some rumors that they were going to do something with some PBC fighters or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So that'd be nice.
Be some shakeups.
Anything positive to the boxing, community would be great. I mean, but yeah, prior the whole Triller thing was just a joke.
I tell you though, looking at the undercard for the Errol Spence versus Ugas, and I'll be watching it. Obviously you got Cody Crowley in there. They're not the co-main event, but you got Isaac Cruz on there. But
it's actually going to be with Cody Crowley added to that card. It's going to be a good card, man.
Well, yeah. You got the young upstart, Jose Valenzuela, who's gone up against the KG veteran, Francisco Vargas. Francisco Vargas in his days against Berchelt. But then there's a couple fighters on there that really, honestly, I mean, there's some other guys that just kind of get under my skin. And one of them in particular is a fighter named Brandon Lee. The reason why this guy, and we've actually got into it social media wise too, he's a guy who continues to fight guys out of their divisions that are coming off multiple losses, and he's making it look like he's the man, and then, calling out some of the bigger names. He's another guy that's going to kind of be protected under that thing based on his ethnicity.
He's very protected, yeah.
And like the guy who's fighting under him, Maliki, who finally got put in a fight where he wasn't where somebody screwed up and didn't read the last page of the book. Yeah. And Maliki got exposed and stuff. So, I mean, you can do whatever he wants. He's a young kid, but this guy Lee and when you watch the guy fight, his fundamentals are so basic. I mean, he does no one thing great. And I think to myself, but to hear the commentators and what they're saying, it just drives me nuts, man. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, they're doing their job trying to sell
mute the freaking.
Oh my God, dude.
I'm telling you, the mute button is your friend. I can't watch a fight anymore with the commentators.
Well, let's just say this. This is how I ended the argument with him. I go, you just knocked out a guy in the 6th round by a stoppage that got knocked out by a guy in the 1st round, okay, in his previous fight, knocked out cold. And the guy that beat him had more losses than wins. So what does that say about you?
Yeah.
At your stage in your pro career? Conversation's over.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
True.
I know fights are different from fight, but they're not that much different unless you're completely damaged, like what could happen with Gabe Rosado. But I don't know. But I'm looking forward. So
I feel for Gabe. You know what? I
don't. Not after his antics that he was doing with McGee and other thing like this. Gabe wanted too much too fast. Do you agree, Mike? He was getting the commentating. He was doing commentating.
I agree.
I think he's a great commentator. He's a guy that can move right into commentating. And you know what they should do? They should eliminate Mannix or Mora and put Gabe Rosado full time on the zone.
I think he's
much better. Much better.
Yep.
Much better.
So, Mike, how do you see that Ugas Spence fight coming out?
Spence is going to break him down and stop him. Somewhere after the 6th, 7th, 8th, so maybe between 6 and 9, 6 and 10. Everybody's real high on Ugas right now, and I get it, but you got to remember he beat a 41-year-old Pacquiao.
I agree.
Ugas can get hurt. Yes, he got hosed against Porter. We all know he won that fight, but he's been hurt.
He got hurt against Porter.
He got rocked bad from the kid from Arizona. Who's the kid from Abel Ramos? Abel Ramos hurt him bad.
Yeah,
and Abel Ramos is not exactly a one-hitter quitter. Errol Spence is going to break him down and stop him.
I agree. I think Errol Spence wins this fight, but that sets up an interesting thing, and we'll talk about this briefly because I know we're going over. I know Terrence Crawford is saying that he wants Errol Spence and he's the next in line. Errol Spence has made it perfectly clear that if he gets past Ugas, Crawford's next. I just don't feel it's going to happen because I know Terrence is going to come up with another excuse.
Well, he's going to price himself out like he's been doing for the last 3-4 years.
Do you honestly think Terrence Crawford wants Errol Spence? Do you think that's a reality? Do you think it's reality or do you think it's just bullshit?
He just wants a payday, bro.
When was the last time Crawford actually fought?
Well,
no, he fought Sean Porter a few months ago.
Sean Porter, yeah.
When?
That fixed
a few months ago.
I went back and watched it again, bro. I got to tell you right now, man. I said a thing on Sean's podcasting because I mean, other than the fact Sean's got to figure out how to get some guys that actually know something about boxing. His two co-hosts, those guys are complete idiots. I can't even listen to them. They make Sean look dumb. Really, they do. They make Sean look dumb. Sean doesn't understand that.
I know they're his friends and shit.
That doesn't. You can't just have your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my brother Eric, but he doesn't make me look dumb. You don't make me look dumb. Hopefully, I don't make you guys look dumb.
Those guys are dumb, dude.
You guys both make me look dumb.
No. But the thing is with Sean Porter right now, I went back and I watched that Terrence Crawford, and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, you're winning this thing, and why are you stopping? Why are you pulling back? What's this weird conversation you got going on with your dad? Why was his dad mad with him around before? Why?
Yeah.
Something was going on, dude. And the next thing you know, the fight's over. Dude, I'm telling you, dude, enjoy the money, Sean. Don't ever come back to boxing, man. Be a podcaster, make donuts. I don't give a shit. Whatever you're going to do in your life, dude, don't come back to boxing, bro.
Agreed.
But it is what it is. But hey, man, it was a good show back, man.
I love your banter, man.
I talk too much, dude. But hey, dude, I got nobody to talk to. Who am I going to talk to? Dude, the bugs out in my fucking yard?
The bugs. Big bugs out there?
Hey, AJ,
you have a lot of insects out there, huh?
Nah.
Found any scorpions yet?
Nah, let's say, bro, that's a misconception.
That's Arizona, bro.
Yeah, that's Arizona, dude. I don't walk in my backyard.
Texas too. I know. I've been there.
I mean, am I going to go walk in my quarter acre back there right now barefooted? Like Adam and Eve, jumping,
AJ.
to the tulips? Hell no, dude.
But you know what? I'm going to send you a black light flashlight. Okay. In the evening, at night, I want you to go out in your backyard and just use the black light flashlight, and you'll be able to see.
I'll never walk out there again, dude.
Yeah, my buddy Bobby does that. He's got long tongs for barbecuing, and he has a black light. He goes there and he grabs them. Yeah, he gets rid of them because his wife Elaine, she got bit by one. For some people, she's like a bee sting. She got bit and had her arm was numb for like 2 months. She got it bad.
Shit.
We do have a bug out here that is highly invasive that came up through Mexico that you have to be careful. I actually have been eradicating.
Was
in
it
my
the big
backyard.
one?
No, not the moth that I had to go Mike Tyson on. But what happened? We have these things called it's a kissing bug. What it is, it's that assassin bug. If they bite you, you can get sick, and this sickness doesn't go away. Okay, it's called chaga or something like that. But
Chagas.
It's their feces. Yeah, so you got to be real careful with them. I eradicate. I do it. They keep to themselves. Every once in a while you'll see. But I saw them in California. I see them in California all the time too. So it's not like, I think you just see them more because when you got greenery and you got trees, you don't see them. They're able to hide. When you got powdered, volcanic rock, dirt, it's a different story. You can see them better and stuff. But
how the dogs doing?
They're fine. They're dogs.
Gator. If nobody's ever seen, what, you need to put Gator on this show.
I don't even want to talk about Gator. Gator doesn't work. He doesn't do anything but poop and eat, so he doesn't deserve any time on this show. So let's move on. No Gator talk.
Everybody needs to see Gator. He's amazing. I love that dog.
Okay, so we got the big Spence fight coming up. Overall, I just want to say, hey, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show, guys. We'll be more regular. Today's Sunday. We definitely got to do something before this big fight on Saturday. We got to do our breakdowns, predictions for the Ugas
on Tuesday. Fight. Yeah. Hey, real quick, Mike. I don't mean to cut you off, Eric. You mentioned something about a fight coming up, and I saw it. So is it official? Is it Renee or is it Maximus that's going to be fighting on the undercard of the Benavides?
Maximus is going to be fighting on the undercard of Benavides Lemieux at the Gila River Casino in Phoenix.
That's
and
good.
Then Renee's
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to do my best. Yeah. I will be there.
I want to go.
I'll probably be at both of them. I'll definitely be at Renee's fight, April the 29th. It's a Friday, and he's fighting on an Iron Boy card in Arizona, 6-rounder. Let's just cross our fingers and pray to God the opponents don't drop out like they keep doing.
I was telling my wife about that. I was talking to LeBron about that last night too. I was talking about Renee because he was asking about Renee Moreno, and I said, it's tough. I go, there's a couple fighters there, guys like Renee, because of his gym battles that he's had, people know who he is. He's a guy that fought under Mayweather's banner for a while, very talented young man, but he's in this situation where a lot of guys are just going to avoid him, and they can avoid him by saying, well, he was never there. And then you got guys like Michael Dorado, a guy of his size for his weight division. A lot of people are not, and us being a lefty, I believe, no one's going to want to touch that. I mean, so it's an unfortunate situation. Hopefully, something breaks, but it might just have to come to that situation where Renee might just have to take that big bite that maybe he's not ready for. But I think he's going to surprise a lot of people because I think Renee's been ready for a long time. This is a kid you can see the frustration when he's fighting. You know, he just wants to show the world what he can do.
Yeah.
I think if given the opportunity, he's going to step up and he's going to open some eyes, man. And then he's never going to go talk to us again. He's going to be cool like Jaime and that's it, you know. It is what it is, but Maximus is definitely a guy. So like I said, fans out there, if anybody's listening, the two people, hey, what's up, you know?
Yeah, Max, and Max, I don't know if you saw pictures he was posting on social media, you know, him training alongside both Benavides brothers. Max was a little guy, you know, he was maybe like 8 or 9 years old training because, you know, they're all from Arizona. He knows those guys very well. So he's thrilled. So,
yeah, I'll tell you, the first time I saw it, I'll keep it over because I know we're ending. First time I saw it, I told Mike, I wanted to see this kid spar. And he's like, well, he's the one in there now. And I go, which one? The 30-year-old guy that's in there fighting? I thought he was a fucking grown man. His kid was 18 years old, not even 18. Ridiculous.
He just graduated from high school last year.
Yeah. Just amazing, man. Yeah.
So crazy.
All right, fellas. So we're about an hour and 30 in, but that's all right though, because we had a lot of catching up to do, man. So that was a good one, guys. It was good to see everybody's faces. Once again, we are all in different parts of the country now. We are no longer within arm's reach, but we're always close by. So if anybody out there is
always
watching,
a phone call away.
That's right. And
we're closer than that. We are in our hearts.
Yeah.
We're together.
And our mom, our beautiful mom, is having a birthday in 2 days. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Your birthday. Love you, Mom. I know Mom's watching, so thanks, Mom. Love you.
Of course she is. Of course she is. She's our biggest fan.
That's right. So hey guys, for everybody at Enter the Ring, good show, guys. We'll see you guys back here Tuesday, right? We're going to put some together for Tuesday.
At 6 o'clock.
It's prediction time for the fights, and there's three big fights we got to talk about on that card on the 16th. Don't really care about the DAZN card, but I really want to talk about the Spence Ugas pay-per-view.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All
righty. So for everybody here at Enter the Ring Live, I'm your host, Mighty Mike.
AJ Rage.
And Eric the Red.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Take it easy, brother. Love you guys. Bye.
Take care.